our pastor's wife was right beside her that was saying, don't question God. We're not to question God. And I turned around to her and said, it's okay to question God. In the 4th chapter of one of my books, which I titled, My Baby Didn't Make It, is where I share how especially new mothers can deal with grief and how they can deal with losing a child or losing a pregnancy or having a stillbirth or even having to navigate that journey alone. And I did remember when we recently launched that book, Like Mother, Like Child, we sold it to a number of mothers, and I remember one of my lecturers purchasing that book, and then she emailed me back the feedback, and she was so grateful for sharing that book. It turns out she had just lost her niece, and she shared the book with her sister at the time. And today I'm just going to share with you bits and pieces of what that chapter talks about. Not just what the chapter talks about, but also for you to realize that if you are ever grieving the loss of a child, you're not alone. And also for you to realize that wherever you are, you can always get help. You can always come to the realization that you can always access the right support system to deal with that particular season. So this is what I wrote in that book, and it was born out of my interaction with a client. A number of my clients who have suffered had to suffer a miscarriage, and some even stillbirth. And I remember writing that chapter and not having words, not having expressions, or not really being able to express myself from the experiences I've had with caring for people that had pregnancy loss and all of that. But when the feedback came back about the book, I saw that what God really wanted me to portray in that book was that irrespective of where we are in our lives, He will still be God, and He would be there to hold us through. The reason why I'm going towards the God factor here is because when grief happens or when things happen, we are likely to want to ask questions. Obviously, it is okay to ask questions, and that's one of the things I want to mention on this call today. When you're dealing with grief, you would have questions, and if you are a Christian and you're watching this and you've heard things like don't question God, I remember saying to one of my clients when I went to visit her after the loss of our baby, I said to her, look, it's okay to question God. And right beside her there was our pastor's wife, who was right beside her that was saying, don't question God. We're not to question God. And I turned around to her and said, it's okay to question God. And at this time, I wasn't saying it because I was trying to spite God, because I can't even spite God. I love Him. I was just of the opinion of me dealing with my own stuff, and I saw that God actually wants us to be able to kind of communicate with Him. He's our Father, and He wants us to be vulnerable enough to ask Him questions. You're not questioning His sovereignty. You're not questioning who He is as God. You're just asking to know why this happened, and most of the time God answers. Yes, He does. So today, if you're ever dealing with grief, I just popped in here to let you know that it's okay to ask questions. It's okay to reflect. It's okay to seek to understand why it happened. You may never be able to get the answer in terms of why it happened the way it did, but I think that genuinely, if you ask God to give you the reasons why it happened, you may find it, you may not find it, but it's okay to ask those questions. Don't ever feel it's enough that you're dealing with losing a child. You don't also want to feel like you are disrespecting God or sinning against Him by seeking to understand why what happened. And I think that's just fair. And that's why I'm popping in today to say it's okay to ask questions. And please, it's okay to find safe spaces to be vulnerable in, and that is why we are available. You can join any of our support communities or send us a private DM, and we are able to provide you with guidance during this season. Please don't be alone, and remember, Good things come from the darkest of seasons, and this season too is going to bring about the light that you never thought was going to come through. We are sending you hugs and kisses from Make Edcast. Take care. Bye.